Yeah. No, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
So, we talked to you a week ago, and
Oh boy.
I asked you at the end of the interview, I said, I know you'll never admit this publicly, but aren't you kind of rooting for Michigan to beat Ohio State because it would otherwise we're going to do the same storylines for every team in every sport for another year? And you said, well, now, JB, I wouldn't go that far. But here we are again.
Well, no, not only that, and I was thinking about this last night driving back from East Lansing on the I-96.
Mm.
And I was eyeing every concrete abutment I drove past
Yes.
and thought, should I just do the swerve? No, of course I'm being facetious, but last night the state of Michigan put its college basketball on display.
I know. We were so excited to have something really good, and it all sucked.
But hey, as we always say each and every show, thank God for the Pistons.
Yeah, well, exactly. Thank you. Back to back. And I was thinking of that. I'm like, oh my God, all the repeating themes. I mean, Harbaugh for the next year. We'll be debating Quinn Tricia for the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, will the Wings ever win another game? And yeah, I would love to see some of the debates change. Oddly enough, I actually totally get, contrary to what people think, I totally get the Harbaugh debate. I'm not like this, like, leave him alone. He's doing his best. I'm not that at all. He's 0-5 against Ohio State, and that's not good. And matter of fact, that's quite bad. And of all the things he was brought here to do or he wanted to do, he hasn't accomplished the one or two biggest ones. He has accomplished several other ones, which I go back to what I said before, and I'm sure you all have debated it as well. To me, it has not, in my mind, not even that close reached fireable offense level, but certainly consternation level, certainly not what we thought level. But I don't know how to take it to a next level and be harsher than that. What else? I mean, do you guys want his pound of flesh or no?
No, I don't want his pound of flesh, but I do think the criticism is legitimate. And I do think, and I said yesterday, my boiling point will probably be next year if either McCaffrey, Milton, or whoever the hell the quarterback is shows me that they're nothing special again. And I'll say, you know what? These guys have been in the program since they were red shirts. And if these guys are not any good, that's it. He's had 6 years to get a quarterback. And if he can't even get a quarterback from day one, then he should go.
Well, I mean, that certainly would be fairer, no doubt. And, of course, part of the problem has been, and this is on Harbaugh too, and I get that there hasn't been continuity. They've obviously changed systems several times. How many? 4 offensive coordinators he's had in 5 years. I think if I tallied it up right. And that's on him as well. But I agree, and we'll see how the quarterbacks are next year. But again, and we'll also see how the defense is. I mean, there's no guarantee of that. Next year is going to be very telling. They do lose a lot, and second year in the new offense, perhaps that'll help. But Stoney, I don't disagree with you. As long as you don't beat Ohio State, the heat will ratchet. All we're debating for the next year, just put in your calendar every day. When you do your little show sheet, you put down, okay, 9:15 we'll talk about horse urine. 9:20
heavy streams.
Streams. Debate level of heat on Harbaugh. It'll go on for a year, and people will disagree.
But here's my question to you, because you have a better knowledge of this than Stoney or I do. Stoney said what his boiling point is. I personally have my own boiling point, 212 degrees. Hello. What is Ward Manuel and Mark Schlitzel's? Do they have a boiling point? And by that I mean, if 5 years from now, Jim Harbaugh has won 8 or 9 games a year, he's 0-10 against Ohio State, but they're beating everybody else at an 80, 81, 82% clip. No hint of scandal, no hint of off-field issues. Like, is there a boiling point for the people who actually make these decisions?
Let me ask you this. When he hits 0-10, what is the score of that 10th game?
68 to 33.
Okay,
and it really got away from them in the second.
Well, you're
quarter.
going from
Okay, it's
60s,
getting
50s,
close.
40s. Yeah, he'll be
Yeah.
down to the 20s by that time.
No, I don't think their boiling point, Ward Manuel and Schlissel, I don't think it's close. I don't. Now, I think people misconstrue because you hear, and it does do like the Michigan whatever thing a disservice when like the Mike Greenbergs or the Colin Cowards of the world are out there basically speaking for Michigan, saying, time to lower your expectations. You've never been any good. And listen, you don't have to lower your expectations, but you can also admit that they haven't been dominant for a long time. But that doesn't mean like Michigan is like going paws up and not going to at least try to compete against Ohio State. And they have, as you said, 80% beaten everybody else. That might not matter to the really diehard Michigan fan who just hates the Buckeyes. It might not matter to a lot of people. But that matters in the walls of a school that doesn't want to be, most programs that don't want to be embarrassed, that don't want to go 3-9, that don't want, there is something to be said for that, but not everything to be said for it.
The difference between this and the Cooper situation, as Jamie, smartly pointed out earlier in the broadcast,
smartly.
yes,
Ooh, wow.
is that even though Cooper had his record against Michigan, he was still playing in really good bowl games. They were still great teams. Really, really haven't had very many great teams yet, and it's only been
That's
5
true.
years.
But the flip side to that is Cooper lost games to Michigan, 2-10-1. He started 0-5-1. For those who think you can't survive losing 5 games to your rival, he survived for another 11 years or whatever. Of course, that was a different era. But the difference there is Cooper almost always had the superior team. They always came in like either undefeated or one loss, and then Michigan would spring the upset. In this case, this was the first. Last year was the first one that Michigan was favored, and they didn't come close. And this year was a disaster, an embarrassment, everything, call it what you want. But I don't think it's that comparable to Cooper because Ohio State has a machine going right now, an absolute machine. And, I mean, do you know what their record is the last 8 years, 7 years of Urban and 1 year of Ryan Day?
Well, they've lost like 5 games, something like that?
They're 95-9.
Okay.
So this is not an excuse, okay, at all. But it's not like Michigan, as Cooper was, it's not like Michigan is, they lost to an 8-4 Ohio State team. What? That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Can you make that distinction?
Yes.
Yeah.
And not be making an excuse?
No, I mean, not in certain people's eyes. So here we're talking to
What
Wojo,
about your
by the way.
eyes?
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
I'm a big
I
fan
wanted.
I'm a big fan of these sliding doors questions, where if one thing went a different way.
Oh, right.
So if Barrett is called short of the goal of the line, and that was a very close play if you remember it, and Jim Harbaugh was somewhat disappointed at the
I never saw a good angle.
yeah at the outcome. How is history different? And the obvious way it's different is that Harbaugh's 1-4. He has gone to Indianapolis, maybe won a Big Ten championship, maybe gone to a playoff, maybe won a play. Who knows? Okay. But the other way to look at it would be that it would make 62 and 55 that much more unacceptable in a way because he would have shown that he could beat Ohio State.
That's actually an interesting point. And he did get some cover because even though 0-5, you say, oh my God, but like you said, 2 inches away and it would have been different. And it would be different.
Bitterly disappointed.
Yeah. It's bitterly disappointed. Sorry.
Bitterly. I wonder if it would have changed Urban Meyer's trajectory at all because
I was wondering the same thing.
he put so much into that. I mean, that was the year of the headaches and everything else. And he would have caught crap for that, I think. I mean, Ohio State was favored in that game, and they were at home. So who knows? And those are that's why it's such a polarizing and also at times fascinating topic because you can view the exact same thing on Harbaugh from 2 different angles and come with the exact. Like, for instance, never wins his big game, never has beaten Ohio, never beating Ohio State and never going to the Big Ten title, to me, is the same thing. It's like one thing. Because if they had beaten them one or two of those 5 years, they probably would have gone.
Although if Maryland gets the 2-point conversion last year, they would have gone to Indy and still not beaten Ohio State.
Right. And would you feel better about them then?
A little bit.
And the other thing I hear, the money thing drives people crazy, and I get that. They had to pay him that much money because he was the hottest free agent football coach available. And when people bring that up, he should be doing more because, how much he makes. To which I say, okay, say his salary was half of that. Would you feel better about 0-5 against Ohio State?
No.
Right. That's my point. So, and again, that's not to just. I would remove the money aspect from it. You're totally entitled to say, I thought we would get more. Of course you would. But, the flip side is he's taken back some other rivalries or other series in the Big Ten against Notre Dame and Michigan State. And, other than this year, Penn State and Wisconsin, he's beaten them. I'm just speaking from like an administrator like Ward Manuel or whoever. I'm just trying to lay out for people why a lot of people's angst does not translate to movement by Michigan.
So when we talk about expectations, realistically, with what Ohio State's doing, what is a realistic expectation out of a 10-game period, out of a decade, that Michigan should win that game or at least get to the Indy?
1/2.
Yeah, see, I'm not going to. I don't disagree with Jamie. What half? First of all, okay, there's a chance.
I said 3.
There's also they can't have stumbled into another Urban Meyer, can they? Or is he just in a great system with a great transfer quarterback, loads of talent left behind? And we'll say, I'm not projecting Ryan Day's demise. I'm just saying, will that really go on for 10 more years? And at some point, Michigan's going to, I would think, stumble into a hotshot quarterback or finally get a great running back or something like that. You would think. But the expectation can be go 5-5, and the reality might end up being 3-7, and that won't be good enough. But would it be fireable? I can't believe we're sitting here projecting 10 years down the line.
I know. Well, it's actually it'd only be 5 years down the line.
All right, we got to go, but let me leave you with this.
Boy.
Michigan plays Ohio State next year on November 20-something, whatever date is, 28th, November 28th.
Yeah.
In some ways, don't you feel like you shouldn't write a column and we shouldn't talk about them until like the 26th?
Yes.
Literally
that
nothing
done?
that happens between now and then matters.
No, I agree. Because even the recruiting rankings and stuff,
Doesn't
they'll
matter.
do okay. They'll
Doesn't
do
matter.
fine. Michigan will do fine. Ohio State will do great. So the recruiting is still going on. No, you're right. Nothing will happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll look forward. We'll talk to you then, Bob.
Yeah, get that passed through the chain there, would you please?
I'll call your editors at the News saying don't expect anything from Bob until next November 26th or so. All right.
I'm with you.
All right. There he is. Wednesdays with Woj. 97.1 The Ticket.